everyone, it's Morgan and Lexi here to tell you all about Intense Prep. Hey Lexi, how are you?
Hi Morgan, I'm great. How are you doing?
Awesome, so good to see you. So for those of you joining us who don't know Lexi and I, my name is Morgan Taylor. I am the Chief Nursing Education Officer here at Archer Review, and I'm in charge of making all this wonderful content that we're about to show you for Intense Prep.
And I'm Lexi. I am the lead instructor for Archer Review's Intense Prep program, and I am so glad to have all of you here with us today.
Awesome. So Lexi and I want to just give you the down low, tell you what to expect with Intense Prep, and why this is an excellent option for those of you looking to really study hard and prepare for your NCLEX in about 6 weeks. I like to think of Intense Prep kind of like a boot camp. It's an all-inclusive, comprehensive program that's going to guide you through your studying day by day for a total of 6 weeks. So I'm going to pull up a little program comparison chart so that you guys can see the 3 different products we offer at Archer and kind of how they stack up. So first you have our on-demand option, which some of you might be familiar with. You're going to get your question bank, including your learning assessments and computer adaptive testing, as well as about 50 hours of on-demand lectures. Now, the SurePass program is one step up from our on-demand combos. It clocks in at $139, and what you get additionally is a longer access length and a live 2-day NCLEX lecture. That's done once a month by me. Now, what we're talking about today is Intense Prep. This is our most expensive, but by far most comprehensive program. So, as you can see, on top of everything we've talked about thus far, you're also going to get small group tutoring, something that we call feedback sessions, and an ebook. So, Lexi and I are going to take you through exactly what this looks like. I'm going to go ahead and pull up this ebook and share with you the schedule for week 2 of Intense Prep. Lexi, will you walk everybody through what a week in Intense Prep is going to look like with you?
Morgan, I'd love to. So Intense Prep is this really awesome 6-week program, just like Morgan said, where you get to work with me and some of our other Archer tutors. The program primarily meets 4 days a week. So 2 days out of the week, you will be hanging out with me or another one of our fabulous Archer Review tutors in our small group sessions. Mondays are always dedicated as personalized feedback days. So what that means is the very first time that we meet during our 6-week period, I want to find out a little bit more about you. And by that I mean, I want to find out how you've previously done on your NCLEX attempts. So this is where I have students bring me their CPR report from their failed NCLEX attempt. I can look and find out where your weak areas are and start pointing you in the right direction on how to enhance your studying. On Tuesdays and Thursdays of each week, you'll join me again for live lecture. So for example, on your screen right here, this is a sample of what we do in week 2. As you take a look right there, you can see on Tuesday of week 2 is where we cover part 1 of fundamentals. Fundamentals is huge on the NCLEX exam, and because of that, we actually break fundamentals down into a couple days worth of live lecture. So on Tuesday of that week, you'll join me, we'll get on a Zoom call, I'll explain all the important, or part of the important parts of nursing fundamentals. On Wednesday of that week is another small group sessions, and these small group sessions are limited to 20 students. So I'm able to interact more one-on-one with each one of you guys. You can send me messages in the Zoom chat. I can more readily offer you that individualized feedback. So if you take a look on the screen, you can see Wednesday of week 2, we dive into medication administration and we work a little bit more of medical terminology into our review. So again, that day, it's a 2-hour session where you'll either be with me or another one of our fabulous Archer Review tutors. We'll hang out, we'll spend those 2 hours specifically going over that topic. Now, other Wednesdays, other topics we may hit or we will hit will be delegations. So that Wednesday is specifically dedicated to delegation topics. Other Wednesday topics include select all that apply and delegation topics as well. Thursday of that week, we join together and I finish lecturing, or rather on Thursday of that week, I do part 1 of our cardiac information.
Okay, so a couple of questions, Lexi. If
Yeah.
I have a work schedule, kids at home, school, this is a lot of live session time. So is this something that's going to be feasible for me?
Morgan, it absolutely will be. So I prefer to have everybody on live lecture with me, right? Like I'm doing a live lecture. I prefer when people join in, but I
Totally.
totally understand that things get in the way. Life gets in the way. Heck, I'm on the West Coast of the United States, but I know there's some students halfway across the world and the time zones don't always match up.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. We have pre-recorded lectures, the on-demand videos that you will
Okay.
have access to. So let's say you missed part 1 of cardiac with me. Don't worry. We have this awesome library of on-demand videos and you can get caught up that way.
Fantastic. Okay, so live lectures, I can kind of choose live or on demand if I need to. But what about these feedback sessions and these small groups? I'm not sure that I totally understand those.
Sure, let me dive a little bit deeper and try to explain those a little bit more in depth for you. So, Morgan, on those Mondays, so every Monday of
Okay.
the 6-week program, you will meet with me. You will bring me that on that first one, we'll go through that CPR report and then subsequent
Okay,
follow
so
up
something
Mondays.
maybe looking like this a little bit. If I've
Just like
passed
that.
the
Yeah, you got
NCLEX
it.
before or
Thank
failed
you
the
so
NCLEX.
much.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what I want to see from my students. I want them to bring that to me so I can take a look to see where they were above the standard, where they were just at the passing standard, or where they're below the passing standard. Because then I know if they were below that passing standard, that means that is an area they need to spend a little bit more time reviewing. So I can offer that personalized feedback to you. So now it's 6 weeks. So if I'm able to go through this with you on week 1, what about those other weeks? This is where I can start looking at your readiness assessments that I'll have assigned to you during Intense Prep, and I can see how you're doing on these readiness assessments. And from there, we can further tailor areas that you may need to go back in and spend a little bit more time on. So as you see up on the screen right here, there's a couple areas that are highlighted. Typically, I like to focus in on the types of questions that my students have gotten wrong, where 40% or more of their peers have gotten the questions right. Because I know if my students are getting those kinds of questions wrong, that's an area that the majority of other students are getting right, and I want to enhance their learning in those specific areas.
Nice, nice. Okay, so we can use the CPR from past failed attempts, the readiness assessments as we progress through the 6 weeks, as we talk in those feedback sessions and continue developing plans about how to improve. Fantastic.
Exactly.
Now, Lexi, if one of our students misses a feedback session, is there a way for them to review that recording on demand in case they've got, work or school comes up?
Absolutely. So if you miss one of those Monday or Wednesday small group sessions with me, fear not. You will be able to access whatever we covered that day. So about half of that session is typically spent with me going through students' scores. And then the other half of the session is kind of open. And this is a great time for students to bring me questions. If there was things that were unclear the previous week's live lectures, if there's a concept they need me to go over again with them, you will have access to this. In your Archer Review dashboard, there will be an area where you can access that will have that link to that Zoom session. So if you ever do miss a Monday or Wednesday session, you will have access to be able to view it at your leisure.
Nice. Okay, so as well as the feedback sessions, I can also review on demand those small group delegation, prioritization, testing strategies, because that's really important. All of those select all that applies.
Of course they are.
I know I had testing anxiety, so going through that stuff is really important.
Absolutely. You will have access to that. Absolutely.
Fantastic. So Lexi hit on all of those live components of the program, but of course there's a little bit of individual studying that you're going to be doing as well. So when you look at your schedule here for week 2, for example, on Monday, you're joining that live feedback session. And after joining that feedback session, you have an on-demand video to watch, Pharmacology Part 3. We all know pharmacology is a huge subject on the NCLEX. We have about a 3-hour lecture, so it's divided into 3 parts. You also have a worksheet to complete, a dose calc worksheet, and then practice questions. We're going to be doing 75 tutor mode practice questions. Lexi, can you tell everybody a little bit about tutor mode and readiness assessments that they'll be doing in this schedule?
I would love to, Morgan. So each day, like Morgan said, you are going to be responsible for a little bit of your own independent learning. So every day of this program, you will have something that you need to do. It may be those videos, like Morgan pointed out, that pharmacology video. Even though we meet Monday for that small group feedback session, you will still be responsible for that video. You will still be responsible for those worksheets. You'll still be responsible for whatever other questions are assigned to you that day. So some days you may have tutor mode questions assigned to you, which is where you would go into your Archer Review qbank and we would set up tutor mode questions. This is where you can do questions one at a time. You answer the question, you select your answer, you hit submit. As soon as you hit submit in tutor mode, it gives you the answer. It lets you know if you're right or wrong, and then gives you a full rationale as to either, yes, you got the question right, but you should still read through those rationales, or no, you didn't get the question right. Here's why. And then it explains the rationale to you. Now, as we progress through the Intense Prep program, starting in week 3 and week 4, some of those days, instead of tutor mode questions, I will have a readiness assessment assigned to you. So this is sort of like a mock NCLEX exam. You'll do 75 questions of our questions in the qbank. And then from there, after you finish the 75 questions, it will let you know how likely you are to pass the NCLEX exam. It will give you your score, it will give you a percentage, and then it will also tell you low, borderline, high, or very high. So there'll be some days where we have those assessments assigned and some days where you have tutor mode questions assigned. What's really helpful about these readiness assessments is that when I meet with you guys on those Monday small group feedback sessions, I can take a look at those readiness assessments and see which areas you are still struggling with.
Nice. All right. So this sounds like a really good way to get some, small group tutoring, some personalized feedback, and it's a really structured, guided plan to take you through all things NCLEX. So that's why
exactly right, Morgan.
A boot camp, right?
Yeah.
It's like a 6-week structured boot camp. I can't
Absolutely.
tell you that it's easy, but it's going to be worth it, right?
Absolutely.
So the last thing I want to make sure to show everybody here today is a cost comparison between Intense Prep and hiring a private tutor, because Lexi, a $3.99 is not just pocket change. We know that that's an expensive program, but
very
Lexi,
expensive.
What do you think it would cost for somebody to hire a private tutor for all the hours that are Intense Prep?
Well, goodness, I know I do private tutoring for Archer, so I know exactly how much it costs, and I can tell you it's not cheap. So let's think about that. You have 2 hours with me on Monday, you have 3 hours with me on Tuesday, you have 2 more hours with me on Wednesday, and 3 more hours with me on Wednesday. So what does that end up to be? The math, I need the math to math here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 hours a week with me. Is that correct? My goodness, that's a lot of time with me.
And then 6 of live lecturing per week. So 10 hours a week of live face-to-face time.
That is a lot of time with me. And so I know it is definitely a lot cheaper to do this intense program versus paying, what is it, $60 an hour for private tutoring for Archer?
$60 an hour for private tutoring, right.
This is a huge value. This program is, I try to make some real bad jokes as we go along. So, it's worth the comedic value right there.
Boom, I love it. If you look right here, you see paying a private tutor by the hour, 24 hours of small group tutoring is what you're going to be getting in Intense Prep for a week for 6 weeks total. So that's going to come out to just over $1,400 versus with Intense Prep, you're getting that 24 hours of small group tutoring. Additionally, you're getting 6 hours of live lecture per week, as well as the ebook, the question bank, the on-demand videos, everything else that we've rambled off for $3.99. So it's at least a cost savings of $1,000. I'm going to say probably a little bit more.
A lot more.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Well, anything else that you want to tell all of our students, Lexi?
Morgan, I think we really hit the highlights. I know that I'm excited. I love running Intense Prep. I love being able to interact with my students. So if you are looking for a little extra help, I would strongly consider Intense Prep. It's a great program.
Absolutely. You guys are going to have so much fun with Lexi, with some of our other Archer tutors. Rachel, I'm teaching some groups this summer. We have classes starting every 3 to 4 weeks. So head on over to archerreview.com, see what's available. And as always, shoot us an email with any questions. Thanks for watching, guys.